self-critique is just the killer of joy, you know? And like, I feel like the more that we can push ourselves beyond that self-critique and that fear, then like the good stuff is really gonna come, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm Ama Posey, and I'm an abstract painter. I work mostly with oil paint on canvas, but recently I've been trying to kind of just like let myself play a little bit more and explore new things. So I've been, usually I start my paintings with a pour of some kind, so I start them on the floor, and I start with something that I don't have as much control over, which is why I like to pour initially, and then I work on kind of like responding and like fixing problems after that. I've started to work with like puddles of water and then pouring charcoal into the water to see what will happen. I also work with layering things like house paints, watered down house paints, oil paints, inks, and recently I've started using like chalk pastels and oil paint sticks. So after I graduated from Chico State in 2014, I took a 5.5 year break from making any kind of artwork. And I just I became a single mom. I had to get a job, so I started working full time. And I knew that once I started to paint again, it's kind of a manic process for me, and I knew it was just going to take over my life. So I needed to kind of have room for it, you know. So I work to really create like a visual language that expresses like the duality of emotions. So how something can be two things all at once. So like I would describe my work as autobiographical, and within that, like I'm a single mother, and so within like that aspect of my work, like I'm fascinated by how like something can be so intense and so beautiful all at the same time. And I really like to try to explore those things because I feel like they're not things that can be described through words. I feel like it's an ineffable thing that needs something more. I need something visual, like I need a visual language for it in order to really explain it, you know, to find a way to explain it, because otherwise I feel like it's ineffable, there's not something that already exists to describe the complexity of those things. Once you let go of fear, once you let go of like, I'm gonna mess this up, you know, like, once you let go of like any kind of like self-doubt, everything you're looking for within your work is like on the other side of that fear. Like so many times I feel like I'll make a mark and I'll be like, oh, I fucked it all up, you know? And then I realize that once I continue with it, once I push it further and I just don't give up, then that mistake becomes actually like, with more work, that mistake comes out as like this like beautiful thing that wouldn't have happened if you wouldn't have made that mistake, you know? Like maybe you add another layer over it, or maybe you make another mark that then ends up like talking to that other mark, and it somehow makes the piece work, you know? That's been a really cool experience to really explore, you know, like to just set out to explore something and to discover something and not worry too much about the final outcome. I find myself like in my studio, like in turmoil over my work a lot, like, is this gonna be good? Is this gonna be able to sell? You know, like, but I think that a lot of times having those expectations really limits your creativity. So like, I really just wanted to explore new materials and try to find new ways to really create a visual language for what I'm trying